What's going on, everybody? Super Wild Card Weekend recap. Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers. Bills are advancing, heading to the divisional round, hosting Kansas City this weekend. They kept things rolling this week. They didn't play pretty football, but like I've been saying for a few weeks now, and it's just win and survive, win and advance. Just do whatever you got to do to get the W at the end of the day. And Buffalo's done that now 6 weeks in a row. Rallied off some big wins, and kept their season alive for another week. Pittsburgh, like I said, man, they were going to be a tough out, and even without T.J. Watt, that's still a good defense. It's still a good team. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and so that was definitely I don't want to call it a trap game, but it was definitely a game that could have been easy for the Bills to overlook, especially going into that game. They had already known that if they won, it was going to be Kansas City. Obviously with the Bills game being pushed back because of that snowstorm, they already knew the scenario. So it could have been very easy for them to overlook Pittsburgh. But kudos to McDermott and the coaches and the players. They stayed the course. They didn't look past Pittsburgh, and now they can get ready for Kansas City. And like I've said, Kansas City's had Buffalo's number in the playoffs over the years. Buffalo's won the matchups during the regular season, but it seems like every time the postseason comes around, KC has the better end of the stick there. But this time it's in Buffalo, and this time it's going to be in front of fans as well. The last time the Chiefs were in Orchard Park was during 2020, and nobody was there, and it's a totally different environment to play in front of Bills Mafia and to play in front of them in the divisional round at home. 6:30 kickoff time, so it'll be another night game for Buffalo. That place is gonna be wild, and this being Mahomes' first road playoff start, man, he picked a heck of a one coming to Orchard Park. So we'll do a brief recap though for the Steelers game. And Buffalo came out hot. They looked early on like they were gonna wrap this thing up by halftime. Just Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen, man. He was moving the ball with his legs. Was actually able to have somewhat of a rhythm, finding Diggs early on too. That helped a lot. I still want to see them get Diggs involved more. Like these 6-7 yard curl routes, these quick slants, these bubble screens. It's good to get the ball in his hands. Obviously he's an elite wide receiver, but I want to see Joe Brady try and get a little more creative with him. For somebody as good as Diggs, after what I believe the Miami game, after that first Miami game earlier in the season, he's kind of fell off, in targets, in yards, touchdowns. We got to figure out a way to get him going, but it was good to see him get his targets and his touches early on in that game, and and then they find Knox in the end zone, and Buffalo goes right down the field on their first possession after stopping Pittsburgh on their opening drive. They take a 7-0 lead. Pittsburgh comes back. They move the ball, and then Buffalo forces a turnover in Pittsburgh territory. They take over, and the very next play, Josh Allen takes his shot play and finds Dalton Kincaid on a seam, and before you can even really look up, it's 14-0 Buffalo, and like I said, Josh was moving the ball, and it was very the first drive obviously is scripted, but man, that second drive, I wouldn't say it was scripted, obviously, since they took over on short field, man, but the separation Kincaid got, man, it sure looked like it was a drawn-up play that they had been, scheming for a while. But, 14-0 real quick, and then, Buffalo's defense held strong again. Should have forced what would have been a second turnover replay. Didn't go their way. I don't know how. I don't know what they saw, but Pittsburgh got a break on what should have been their second fumble in the first quarter. But later on, the Bills defense holds strong. Forces Mason Rudolph into an end zone interception, and then before you know it, Buffalo's moving the ball again, and they get to, I want to say it was about the Pittsburgh 35, 40, 3rd and 8. Pittsburgh brings the pressure. Josh Allen steps up, scrambles, has enough for the first down, and puts a little juke move on, and then he's gone. He takes it to the house, and that, for as loud as that stadium was on the television, I can only imagine how loud it was, in person, man. Just the energy that ran bring, and but before you knew it, again, Buffalo looks up. They're up 21-0, and the Bills defense gets another stop, gives the ball back to Buffalo, man, and again, moving the ball, driving, stall out. I don't love the decision to kick the field goal there, but obviously if you have a chance to go up 24-0, and I think there was like maybe 5-6 minutes left in the half. The conditions weren't the greatest. The wind was still kind of swirling a little bit there, but still a makeable field goal, especially for Tyler Bass, who's been there now for a few years. So, McDermott sends him out there to try to go up 24-0. Field goal gets blocked, and Pittsburgh recovers, into Buffalo territory. They're able to capitalize with a touchdown, and momentum kind of definitely swung right there. Buffalo could have very well went into the half, with a very nice, comfy lead. It doesn't go that way for them. They still had some work to do in the second half. They come out, and their opening drive, it stalled out. Pittsburgh was able to put some points on the board, make it a little closer again. Buffalo answers back, but the story of the game for me in the second half was, in that fourth quarter, whenever Pittsburgh was able to cut it down to 24-17. It was a 7-point game in the fourth quarter, and Buffalo gets the ball back. Obviously, ever since that blocked field goal, momentum had definitely kind of shifted in Pittsburgh's direction, and Josh leads the boys. They strap it up, and they go, and they answer right back. After a huge momentum swing, to bring Pittsburgh within one score. Bills go down the field. Josh finds Shakir over the middle. I don't know how he breaks the tackle out, from Minkah Fitzpatrick, but he somehow escapes, scampers in the end zone, puts Buffalo up. 14 points there was, with still some time on the clock. It definitely wasn't I don't think it was the game sealer, but it definitely made you feel more comfortable as a Bills fan. And then, they were able to add another score there, and then, towards the end of the game, they had a chance to really, really put things out of reach, and Tyler Bass shanks a field goal. I don't know if it was blocked or not, but but anyway, doesn't end up killing Buffalo. They're able to stiffen up and hold on, and again, wasn't pretty, but it's just survive and advance now. So they did that. Now looking ahead to Kansas City, my biggest takeaway from this Steelers game is injuries. Buffalo's defense, man, they cannot catch a break this season. I don't know how they're doing it, and again, for somebody that called for McDermott to be gone earlier in the season. I think it's only right that, you give him credit where credit's due. And I don't know how he has gotten this defense to rally, especially during these, last 2 months of the season with all the injuries. I mean, I don't know of a team that is maybe this banged up on the defensive side of the ball, just missing starter after starter after, Pro Bowler after Pro Bowler, and they're still finding ways to be a dominant defense. I mean, they are obviously without Matt Milano. He's not coming back at all the rest of the season. There was hopes that maybe he could have came back for a playoff push. That got shut down. Obviously, they lost Trey White, and then this game against Pittsburgh, they were without Rasul Douglas. He was out with an injury. And then just throughout this game, Christian Benford got hurt. The Bills were also without Taylor Rapp. Then in this game, you got Benford goes down. You got Terrell Dotson goes down, who was playing just phenomenal linebacker this season. He goes down. He's out for a while. And then, then the guys that come in to replace him, like Balin Spector comes in to replace Dotson and, or Bernard, I'm sorry. And, then he ends up getting hurt. And it's like, man, just the depth of this team is impressive, but the Bills have got to get healthy quick. Kansas City, well, yes, they are definitely not the big, bad, scary Kansas City team. It's, like I've been saying, it's Kansas City. It's Mahomes. It's Kelsey. It's Andy Reid. It's the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It seems like they're going to be competitive. And it doesn't matter if it seems like their wide receivers can't catch. It doesn't matter if it seems like all of a sudden Travis Kelce's got the yips. It's still the playoffs, and you can't, you gotta play what you got, and hopefully Buffalo will be healthy and get some guys back for this Sunday night. The injury report as of today does not look promising for a lot of these guys. Like Gabe Davis is still not practiced at all. While he may not be a huge threat in the receiving game, he's been good in the run blocking game, so that takes away an element. And then a lot of the big time defensive guys, they still have not had any practice this week, so they got to heal up quick. If not, it's going to be all hands on deck this Sunday in Orchard Park. But like I've said for almost 2 months now, as long as you have Josh Allen, you have a chance. I'll take Josh Allen 10 times out of 10, and hopefully this Sunday at 6:30, Josh Allen will be leading the Buffalo Bills to a victory and taking the Bills to his second AFC Championship appearance. So fingers crossed there. Obviously, Buffalo will be the last game of the weekend, so they'll know their opponent, or Kansas City will know their opponent. Come the outcome of that game. So, but fingers crossed, Buffalo will keep riding that hot hand and that momentum wave, and make it 7 straight wins. So we'll see. Appreciate y'all as always for tuning in, running down on the season real quick. So as always, thank you all for tuning in. Go Bills.